Hi everyone, welcome back to Luminous Life. I'm Lamia, and today I want to talk about the lunar eclipse in Capricorn that happened today here in India this morning. And it is the last of the 3 eclipses we've had for the last 5 weeks. And before I begin talking about the eclipses and what this time signifies and what we need to do in order to be able to ride this wave into better times, is that there's a strong element of Mars in Aries squaring Mercury, and this is the Mercury Retrograde. So yes, the other element I wanted to talk about before the eclipse is just briefly touch upon the retrogrades. So I'll touch upon the retrogrades first, and then I'll come to the Mars in Aries square. So the planets in retrograde, Mercury is in retrograde till the 12th of this month, and again it will go retrograde sometime in October, November later this year. Also, Saturn is in retrograde till September, Pluto till October, Jupiter till September, Neptune till November, and I already said Mercury. So Venus was in retrograde and is just out last week, I think. So normally Mars in Aries is there for about 5 or 6 weeks, and this time Mars in Aries is going to be in Aries for 6 months, and right now it's square the Mercury, and so Mercury in retrograde is telling us to slow down, to pay attention to how we're communicating, it governs technology, communication, and with this activated Mars in Aries energy. So the Mars in Aries energy is a very reactive, hot-headed, angry, you'll feel lots of frustrations kind of energy, and all the more when you are working in your communication, you need to be mindful or be aware if you're slipping into a reactive state, or are you able to take a step back, slow down, assess what you want to say, and then move forward into what you're about to say and how you're going to communicate. Also, when you start to feel these frustrations coming up, you are being shown what you're not able to tolerate, and given an opportunity to look within and see, is this not fitting with me? Why is this not fitting with me? And it's also good to consider when these frustrations come up, that am I going to react, or am I going to find a way to release this? And I want to give you an example from my own life. So I was having a conversation last week. I am wrapping up something big, and that's just so timely because of the eclipse being a culmination point. I'm wrapping up something since the last few months, and it's just been sort of pacing down at snail's pace, and I got it was in a bunch of written communication, and I got very activated, and I could instantly feel it in my body. I could instantly feel my breath was short. I could feel myself almost shaking a little bit, with not an active shaking, but this shakiness within, this not so stableness within. And I instantly started to just write out everything I was feeling towards that person, towards the situation. I just wanted to release it out of my system. So when this frustration arises, you want to ask yourself in the same way, do I want to consider, just instead of lashing out at that person or getting upset, can I transfer, can I redirect this energy onto a piece of paper and just start writing it out? Okay, maybe can I dance? Maybe can I move to release this energy? So it's nice when this is going to be going on for the next 6 months, this activated Mars and Aries energy, and it's something that I kind of felt pretty early into this this occurrence in the sky. And I now know that every time I feel this come up, instead of just having to sit with it or call somebody else or talk to my partner about it, the best thing is to just quiet my mind, sit down, and just allow myself to put down whatever I'm feeling, no matter how activated, angry it is, just to release it. And no matter how activated or agitated I am feeling in the moment. So then coming to the full moon. So on the 2nd of July, Saturn went back into Capricorn, and also our full moon is in the sign of Cap. And so Capricorn is the energy of commitment, of structure, organization. It represents time, security, career, and all of these areas of our life. And I'm going to go back to Saturn in Capricorn for a second. So Saturn is like the server or the servant. So it really pushes us to pay attention to what we're sowing, so we may reap more of that we want. And just like I said, the servant and the server, the punisher and the rewarder, it's asking you to be very, very, very aware of what you're putting into the world, what you're putting into your thoughts, what you're putting into your interactions, what kind of interactions you're holding in your life, what kind of work are you doing, and whatever you do, you're going to have the benefit of it tenfold, or you're going to have, if you are not in alignment with yourself, you're going to have to recorrect that. You're going to feel the intensity of it also many times over. And it's at 29 degrees, the Saturn in Cap. And again, it's indicating what has run its course. It's the very last degree, it's the very end, and what has run its course in your life and also in the world, which to me is like these elements are just, again, pointing all out at the major energy of the eclipse. It's all kind of supporting the great change and the great kind of culmination, the ending that has to come through with the eclipse. And so with the full moon in Capricorn as well, this lunar eclipse, so the earth is between the sun and the moon, and the sun is in Cancer and the moon is in Cap. And Cancer is a very emotional energy, as we discussed last month. It's about how we feel, what feels nourishing, the mother energy, the nurturer. And so it's telling you, if you're looking at your structures in your life, which is Capricorn, which is your commitment, which is your alignment, and that's on one side, how are you aligning this with how you feel? How are you bringing love, nurture, and care to yourself as you restructure all of these things? Are you being authentic enough with yourself? Are you in a position where you're doing something that has run its course, that you don't want to do anymore, and you're not making a change out of it? This eclipse is there to just make this big bang, and maybe not a big bang, but it's trying to get your attention to. It's giving you a glimpse of what is yet to come. It's taking your attention to a place where you may be able to see if something is not serving you, how the outcome plays out in a smaller sense, and how it's going to continue to play out if you continue down the same path. And so eclipses are great times of transcendence, culmination, closure, completion. Particularly if you look back at what's been happening 18 months ago, you will see that some things that you started or have been struggling with for the last 18 months, and that's so true for me. This example I gave of what I'm wrapping up has been something that I have been kind of working on for the last year and a half, and it's finally coming together. So it is that closure, it's that culmination, that coming together. In any case, full moons are that sort of culminating point in the lunar cycle. But when there's an eclipse, it's much more intense, and it's much more strong, because it's pushing you to come out of that lower self of yours where you were playing small, or you were continuing in a certain way without awareness of how you really feel, and then asking yourself, why am I not liking my reality? What in my reality can I change because I'm not happy with it? Or because I've been dealing with this for so long, it's the same reality over and over again. It's just supporting you to drop that, just to drop it. And because it's Cap, it's really emphasizing on taking care of your business, on wrapping up, as I said, incomplete, unfinished timelines, letting go of old stories, of old identities, of old concepts you've held about yourself, and bringing you closer to your cosmic plan. That's what this eclipse is doing. It's bringing you closer onto your divine path. And hence what is not part of your higher good, or part of the world's higher good, it has to change. That structure has to come apart. And also Capricorn is about managing your time really well, so restructuring how you place your day. And I kind of talked about this last month when I said, when you're focusing on what's nurturing for you, paying attention on what feels nurturing, what kind of work feels nurturing, what kind of people feel nurturing. And in the same capacity, you're being asked what structure is really, really effective for you, that you're able to make time for the things you love, you're able to balance all aspects of your life. And also, what will you allow, what will you tolerate, what is not in alignment with your highest self and your highest good and just needs to be let go of. The other thing is also programming. So when I talked about concepts and stories and identities, it's also the programming that the world is held, right? Let's just take the example of what's happening right now. We never thought that we were not prepared for a pandemic. We didn't think our structure was that weak. We didn't believe that we'd be sitting at home and altering the way that we live in. And in my perspective, I think the alteration that is happening is for the highest good. So I don't perceive it as a negative thing, but I definitely think that the structure that's supporting it, the government, the pharmaceutical companies, the pharmaceutical world, the way it's supporting this is shaky. It's not a structure that we can rely on. So that reprogramming of those belief systems at a worldly level, and then also examine that in your own life. Where do you need to reprogram certain beliefs? So for the longest time, I believed that I needed to have a physical space of work where I would do my sessions out of, where I would do my healing out of. And through the course of this pandemic, it didn't make sense for me to pay rent for a space that I'm not able to visit. And I'm doing all my sessions via Skype and via the internet online. And so I just decided, I said, I'm just going to let go of this structure. It doesn't make sense to me anymore. I'm going to let go of this belief system. And of course, we want to find a sense of flexibility. So when things are different, I would love to interact with people face to face. I really understand the importance of it. I understand that we pick up on a lot more than what meets the eye when you meet someone face to face and have that human to human connection. But if I were to sit here and be like, I cannot run my sessions like this, I'm not able to help. If my intention is to help people, then I can find a different structure to set up. And so it's breaking our belief system on how things should be and could be, and giving us a chance to have a glimpse on what can be and dream a little more and see that there can be that another way of living on the planet. And so that really ties in with the general theme I've been bringing up for the last few months, that as we move into the new earth, as we move into the new timeline, into the fifth dimension, all of these structures are going to be recreated and have to be in alignment with ourselves, have to be in alignment with our own integrity and what feels like it's supportive and respectful to us and to others. So this is the general energy of this eclipse. Expect big structures to be changed. Expect big change in general. And also this ties into the next new moon. So in my perspective, I think this eclipse energy doesn't really wrap up. The effect of it is felt for 6 months, and that's not in terms of the intensity, but the change it brings through takes sometimes those 6 months to integrate. But for me, I think this eclipse season, as we've been calling it for the last 5 weeks, will really come to will really come together at the beginning of the new moon, which is in Cancer next. And so there's this whole this whole Cancer Capricorn energy that's happening. Is we're still in that sort of, I don't want to call it a storm, but we're still in that space. We're still in that energy. And as we go through this eclipse, as we've gone through this eclipse, I've watched myself really look at certain classes and certain associations that, as much I love and as much I'm honored to hold, and I just feel like it's not adding up to my structure. If I have a certain structure, if I have a certain amount I want to pay myself, amount I want to make in my financial structure or in my time structure, this is what I want to do with my time. It's giving us a chance to restructure that and say, hey, this is not working for me. It's not a bad thing that I need to let it go, because we want to learn to let go with that sense of grace. We want to learn to let go with that sense of, you let go for freedom. You let go so that you may be free and the other person may be free, and so that something else may come through as you've released that old unnecessary unserving energy. So yes, that wraps up the general energy and the eclipse that happened this morning. And I hope this has helped you understand the energies, apply it in your own life. Will also help to see where Cap is in your chart. It's in my career chart, so it really explains why I'm making so many many little restructuring in my career space. So will help to see where Cap is in your chart, and I hope this gives you some insight on how to ride this wave into this magic carpet into the unknown. And thank you for watching, and I will see you soon.